Oh, you're on.
Okay, it's a call to order of the Tilton Zoning Board, December 18th meeting. We're going to start with the minutes just to get them go through. Have you?
I read it.
Yeah. Everybody-
Yes, I read it.
Okay. Do we have any comments, questions, edits on them? Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I have a motion to accept the minutes of July 17th, August 28th, September 18th, and October 16th.
I actually have to abstain from a couple because I wasn't present for those.
Okay.
We have to do two different, because I was here for the last meeting.
You were here for October
Yeah.
16th? So I make-
Okay, make two motions.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll correct my motion. I make a motion to approve the minutes of July 17th, August 28th, and September 18th.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Okay.
I make another motion to accept the minutes of October 16th.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Your
So
minutes
you
are
weren't-
all.
Yeah, you weren't here for that,
Yeah.
right? So
Your minutes are all accepted.
technical stuff though.
Okay, so we're gonna start with ZBA's case 1807, a special exception from Amy Emeralds for the keeping of 4 chickens. Amy, you can step up, if you can come like over here so that
Okay.
people can see you on.
I don't really know what to say, but okay. I'm here.
Talk about the reason, do you need your,
Okay.
do you need your case?
I mean, I will just, sorry,
No.
I did tell her, she asked me today, and I told her that she could, if she wanted to, she could have the option of saying, you know, my application is fairly thorough,
Yeah.
and I'd like for it to stand, you know, as my testimony. I mean, I don't wanna restrict you, but I also.
And then open up for
feel like-
questions
feel
or
like, yeah,
if there's any questions regarding it or.
Okay, then you could, then, you want us just to go through this?
Sure.
Okay. Then you can have a seat. If you have
Okay.
nothing else to add, that's fine, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, has everyone had a chance to look at it?
Absolutely.
All right, do we have any questions for the applicant? So you have a 5x6, and you want 6 chickens?
Actually,
Six by
that's just 4. It's no more than 6 ever, but I have 4 and I only intend to keep 4 at any given time.
Okay,
Right now I only have 2.
okay. So is there a reason why we would need to approve up to 6?
I was speaking with Dari before, the reason for the 6 is when you go to like an Agway or to the Tractor Supply, it's like, I guess it's a state law, I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I was told by the Agway in Belmont that they have to sell at least 6 baby hens when they sell them to customers. So what I do is I raise them as chicks in the home, like underneath the lamp, and until they're old enough to go outside, and then 2 of them I give to friends or to clients of mine. So I've only ever had 4 in my coop outside.
Okay, and I just want to make sure everyone who's made a site visit,
I have.
okay, so we do have 3.
okay, and Eric did too.
And Eric did too, okay. Did you see us wandering around your home?
No, my dog probably freaked out.
Okay, do we have any questions, other questions, concerns?
They also don't free range at all ever. They stay in their coop. They have a run underneath. It's all enclosed. So no free ranging.
All right, so I have a letter in support from one of the abutters, John Barrett. And do we have any other feedback from abutters? Oh,
Yeah, the butter, as you're standing on the road, the butter to the right is not able to attend tonight. Her comment was that, you know, she's generally in favor of her neighbor being able to have chickens. However, the location of the current location of the coop She feels it's very close to a right-of-way. It basically connects her property to the driveway that Miss Amaro uses. And she was concerned that the coop is very close to that right-of-way. And I guess her request would be that it be moved.
Is
more-
there any restrictions with respect to location near a right of way?
No, actually, let's assume it was a property line, just for the sake of discussion.
Yeah.
The setbacks would apply, however, in residential settings, the code enforcement officer has the authority to approve items in the setback. And in conversation with Al, the code enforcement officer, he said, without nuisance, without a clear nuisance, which he doesn't feel this presents, he would allow like that type of positioning or something like that. But is it?
Am I allowed to say something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's up to the chairman, but
Okay.
sure, I expect
Yeah,
so.
are you done?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
So the area he's speaking about, when we bought our property, there was already a shed on the corner of our property line between one abutter and the other one, the Hussmans and the Estes.
Yeah.
The shed was already there, so obviously it was pre-permitted from a previous owner. Our chicken coop is beside that shed. And the line that you're talking about, the right-of-way or the property line, the right-of-way is actually the driveway between the Estes and me for the Hussmans to be able to get a tractor out to their field behind our home to mow the tall grass. The coop is still set in within our property line from there, so it's not actually on the line, so to speak. So when he mows his property between like the coop and his property line, I don't know if this is, anything that matters, but he has been able to mow and turn his tractor around, no problem. So the coop is not an obstruction as far as him being able to have his access. So if that makes any.
With that equipment, would it be more considered an obstacle for them?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, like, so when he does mow, he has no problem, I've actually watched
Okay.
him from my window. He has no problem turning his tractor around to do his lines back and forth behind. So, in fact, there's still several feet between where his line is and the coop.
And do you know how, you have the dimensions of the coop, but do you know how far away you are from your lot line?
I don't know exactly, but I could probably estimate it's probably 10 to 15 feet at least from, like, still within our property.
And the right of way is outside of the property line?
Yes, that's,
On their.
he doesn't have a right of way on our property.
Oh, all right.
No.
Okay, okay. Okay.
Curious the objection, or the comment.
I know.
Yeah.
It
The
doesn't,
other issue is if it was made for me to have to move the coop, first off, the ground's frozen right now. So the coop's not a permanent structure by any means. It can be moved. There's no like foundation in the bottom. It's just on the ground, like it's 2x4 frame or whatever that's
Sitting on it.
on the ground. There's lattice underneath to keep the chickens from being able to get out. But it's obviously settled into its spot. So moving the coop would, one, probably damage the coop. It'd probably never be the same. And then the ground's frozen right now, so if that was something I'd have to do, they'd have to wait till the spring at least. And then, even then, I'd want somebody to come to tell me where.
So it's not on the property line, it's not in the right of way, essentially.
No.
Just don't understand the objection.
yeah,
Well,
I
if
agree.
Well, and I think it was a comment, not an objection. Is it?
True, although I think, there was some desire on her part to have it moved further away from that.
wasn't that because it was for sale?
I think there was something, sort of the comment was, I'm some concern that a potential buyer would be turned away by that.
Turned away by a chicken coop that abuts a field that they pay, I'm assuming? That's what they're
Yeah.
going for.
Yeah.
I wish I had pictures of the coop. It's a
Well, they've-
beautiful coop.
I mean, they've never
I've
seen it.
seen it. But that,
It's not
I
a
wouldn't
nice
say
one.
would be legitimate, given they have the tarp or whatever. Right?
I mean, I'm
Oh,
not
I
gonna
mean-
comment on that. I will say another thing, I mean, if the board grants a special exception, potentially, I don't believe, a permit has been submitted for the coop yet. I mean, I guess my point is, not that there's gonna be some multiple regulatory steps after this, but the code enforcement officer has the right to, go in there, take a look at the location, and potentially require that it be relocated.
Okay.
I mean, so it's not, I say this because I know you guys may be concerned that this particular abutter is not able to be here tonight to,
Right.
and I think potentially some additional discussion could take place between her and the code enforcement officer to make sure.
Okay. Okay, anything else? Any other questions? Any other questions amongst ourselves? No.
Just let you know the clock upstairs is slow.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess do we have a motion?
We don't have to go through all 5 of this because it's a special exception, correct?
So we have, the specific site is appropriate for such a use.
Yeah.
No factual evidence is found that the property values would be reduced due to incompatible land use. There are no valid objections from the abutters based on demonstrable fact. No nuisance or hazard is involved. Adequate and appropriate facilities are provided in the proper operation for the proposed use. Adequate area for safe and sanitary sewage disposal. Disposed, okay. So it's just going in the trash?
Yep,
Okay.
just like kitty litter.
Okay. Okay, so, go ahead.
So I make a motion that we accept case 1807.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wait, should it be approved, accepted?
Sorry. Approve. Case
Approved,
1807.
oh,
Approve.
yes, this one, approved.
Motion to approve.
I make a motion to
Approved.
approve. Case, no, good
Approved.
catch.
This-
1807.
Second?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What's that?
All right,
Okay,
I'm free to go.
you're free to go.
Anybody want to give me Christmas shopping money?
Oh, you
I
have
can
to
give you a
now,
list.
you have to volunteer for either the zoning board or the planning board.
Yeah, see, it was very
Well,
easy.
I'll keep in touch about that time capsule thing, because that does seem really cool. I think my
Okay.
boys would like to get involved with that.
Oh, good.
Okay,
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
all right, we are on to the sheepdog.
Hi, Pat.
Hey,
How are you? How's it going? My boys missed you, by the way.
Hey, did they do it?
Yeah, they did.
Okay, up next, 1808. This is a continuation from last week. We were without a quorum. We have a quorum now. So go.
This isn't, did they come and we did not, we couldn't reach a decision?
We couldn't
Yeah.
reach a decision, and then, so it was continued to this meeting when we had a quorum.
Or full 5 members.
Full
Yes,
5
yeah.
members, yes. Okay,
So yeah, the last time I was here, we weren't able to reach a decision, and since then, I've submitted additional paperwork, basically from my lawyer, and then another one from the Gillington Police Department about the noise complaint issue that everybody had. And then I believe there was a motion at the end.
Yeah.
And for some reason, somebody had mentioned about my fence, like if my fence was a certain way, that it would be approved or something. How did that go?
Yeah, if you don't mind,
Yeah,
I
go
think if you look at the end of your minutes from the last meeting, there was a motion with, I lost it, I don't have it here.
Yeah.
Here we go. A motion with 3 conditions. And in listening to the tape, and I spoke with Ms. Maya, I think it was evident to both of us that had there been a 4th condition added requiring an 8-foot wooden fence, we probably would have reached a resolution that night. So she, if I understand correct, wants to voice that she would be amenable to that 4th condition. But you know, she and I were talking, our thought was that potentially the board, as long as Mr. Gilman is satisfied that he's up to speed and has all his questions answered, potentially the board could go right to a motion with that additional condition and potentially resolve the case. I mean, so is that accurate?
Right.
Yeah.
Because it was something that was already gonna happen anyway.
Well, it was nice to see
Anyway, do you have anything else you want to add?
I don't think so.
Questions?
Yeah, just making sure I'm on the same page. I read all the minutes and everything. So is this the barn and the the yellow building there, that whole property is what we're talking about?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure. I think I'm up to speed. I asked some questions and I think I'm squared away on it.
Okay, does anybody else have?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think I read that.
So we have
Is this
a
from
letter from the
Elizabeth
Lakes.
Medina?
yeah.
I don't think she's like an actual butter, but she's like across the street.
She's
She
definitely.
came last time, didn't she?
No.
Is-
Who came last
oh,
time?
this one?
There was
Yes.
another that came last time.
Okay.
Well, the owner of the property was there.
No, we had someone with objections last time that.
Oh,
came across
yeah,
the street.
Mock.
Oh, they were.
Oh, they
There was a
weren't.
That's the
man,
family that's there.
he
Across-
wasn't a he
No.
wasn't
He's
a
right
No,
across the
across the street and down the road.
Yeah, it's just, no, he's like, here's the place, it's like right across the street right here. It's like, ooh, right there.
Right, but he wasn't listed as a butter.
Yeah, because he wasn't
Yeah.
technically in a butter anyway.
Yeah,
But he was.
But he
a
came to
neighbor.
object,
Yeah,
Right.
right.
just wanted to keep
yeah.
it. He was not, and he's like pretty much.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Okay, so let's-
I do have a member of the public, so you may wanna,
Yep, is that,
sorry,
thank you.
just, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Would you like to speak? Do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Oh, sure, if I'm allowed to, that would be great.
Yes. You need to state your name.
My name's Carolyn Larock, and I live in Guilford. I used to live in Samerton, and I've had one of my dogs as a client of Brittany's for 4 years, and I've been really, really appreciative of having that service. And I would much rather see it here in Tilton than over in Gilmanton, and because I spend more time in this area. And so it's really convenient to be able to drop the dog off. Now I have 2. When I'm going to be out all day, or if I have a job and I have to, you know, rather than leave them at home, it's nice to be able to drop them off. And in the years I've been going there, it's pretty much an indoor facility, and the only time they're outside is supervised bathroom breaks and a little playtime and whatnot. But I've never seen it ever loud and crazy. The dogs are always under control. I mean, mine's a German Shepherd, and I have a puppy now, and he's super well behaved, and if anything, she's actually enhanced the behavior of the dog because she works with them during the day. You know, it's not just play and sleep, it's working with them and getting them to be socialized and actually better behaved dogs. And so I find the service and the overnight, he's been boarded there a number of times, and every time I pull into the parking lot, he knows right where he's going, and he gets really excited to come out, and he loves going. So I don't want to lose this, you know, opportunity to have her here in Tilton, because I just think it's great. So, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How many dogs do you have at your current spot?
Typically about 10 a day right now, so, yeah. Sometimes I have to go up to 15,
Quite a bit. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
a lot of
tons
feedback.
Tons of feedback, yeah.
Tons of feedback. Okay, and
The one letter from
the
the,
father. Okay, okay.
One quick question, sorry.
yeah.
You said that you're gonna bring out, later hours, you're gonna bring dogs out one by one,
Yeah, so,
so that just stops the chances of barking.
yeah, and not only that, but they're not out after dinner and stuff for social hour, if, so having comes out for the night, so they all go out at night. So when they go out there, they don't bark.
Any other questions before we close it
No,
ourselves?
we should appreciate that.
Eric? Fine? Okay. All right. We're gonna close it to outside. You know how the, been here
know.
before?
Just one thing I was reading on PlanLink the other day. Some towns utilize a procedure, and this is not so important tonight, but I'll go ahead and bring it up. Where when they close the public hearing, they reserve the right to reopen it if necessary. That way, like let's say, Ms. LaRock, we close the public hearing and she said, all right, I'm done, there's no more chance for input, I'm gonna leave. And then you couldn't open up the hearing again because, it wasn't properly noticed, everyone thought. But if you say we reserve the right to reopen the hearing, then she knows if she wants to make sure to catch everything, she needs to stay. And that you guys don't have to feel like you're, potentially doing anything wrong if you do need to reopen it to ask questions. Just, again,
Okay.
maybe more relevant in future cases, but I just wanted to remember to mention it.
Well, last time I feel like there weren't many questions, but then there was.
Yeah, right,
So it's like.
Okay. Does anybody feel like we need to do that for this meeting?
Not to be hashed out.
I think we, like, beat it to death. Okay, so. Comments amongst ourselves? Anything to say?
I'm on board with this, the motion that Mr. Engel made last week. We got a fence, I think that makes sense. Kind of encloses it, makes it a sealed unit. I think that there's unbelievably a lot of support that came out for it. It's a lot. The shop rates, it's actually.
It's just, I don't believe the hardship as much because the properties that I think have been out there and I've looked around. I'm still kind of a no just because the people did come out to object and they do live near it. Living near a kennel is not a desirable point. The people that came were close to retirement age or about to sell their home. It's going to depreciate the value of their home, or it's going to be harder to sell their house, so the house is going to be on the market longer. So I just want to keep that in mind.
Was there any facts to back that up, that it would make it harder to sell, or was that just their
It's living,
knowledge?
no, it's living near a kennel, it's just known to be noisy, that's why it's, just because she ran hers different, the stigma behind living near a kennel is a selling, point.
Which
So she did,
but it's not advertised as a kennel.
It's a dog hotel, but if you Google dog kennels near me, it would still come up.
what's the zoning for that area? What is it zoned as right now?
It's improperly zoned for this.
No,
it's,
that's why it's
it's
here.
resort
yeah.
commercial.
Resort commercial, so it's not residential
Commercial
zone.
or
I want to say mixed use.
mixed use, sorry,
use, okay.
mixed use. Mixed use. She did provide, information from realtors. It looked like the.
She did send a lot of messages.
Yeah.
Working for, trying to get multiple, it looks like there's multiple realtors here.
An exhaustive search.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it, which,
And I can believe,
yeah.
running a business, you wouldn't, especially a service-oriented business, you can find a property that fit the needs on a dirt road in the back of far off the distance, but it would not serve the business, because the business needs to be easily accessible and visible. So to meet all of those needs, including the accessibility and visibility, that's limited.
I disagree with that. Yes, because there are other kennels in this town that are not located on Route 3 that do very well.
Right.
It's reputation and word of mouth that advertise to those places. And they're in areas that are zoned
Oh, there's a brand new
for
cable.
that.
Oh, it's kind
It's like the stuff that you might
of, you know.
Yeah, and this is an area that's developing, not, it is not growing towards a residential area.
But there's a residential location right next
right
door.
behind it and behind it,
You know, for years, that's why I had to do it.
and right across the street.
But we haven't heard any feedback from them.
No, right.
We don't think we were notified. Last meeting we covered that. That's why it was kind of hung
It was
up.
sent to the management company, but it probably doesn't get to all the.
We've improvised through the
That's
years.
why
There's been some.
I mean, this isn't like kennels on top of kennels outside, right? That we're talking, sorry, I don't know if we.
No, no,
This
good.
is just like an
That's
open
no-
field, you can
no,
bring a
we
dog
don't.
out occasionally. This isn't like racks of dog kennels.
Right.
The dogs are
No,
just
no,
stuck
no.
there.
No, this is, they have free play outside.
Yeah. I mean, there's a veterinary office right next door to it that keeps the dogs overnight.
This
No
point.
one complains about, it complains about that place having dogs barking.
But those dogs are inside, these dogs are go outside. And
No more than 10 at any
she
time.
could have potentially up to 42 dogs,
Not outside.
eventually.
No, no, no.
They all have to go outside at some point. They
No,
all
but
gotta do
no.
their business.
No more than 10 at a time.
Okay, 10 dogs barking, still 10 dogs barking. My dog starts barking in my neighborhood, every dog in the neighborhood starts barking.
The,
Until I get a shot collar. Just kidding. He's just a happy dog. There's a mosquito flying in my yard, he starts barking. He sees his friends down the street, he starts barking.
so no more than 10 dogs may be boarded overnight.
But
No more than 10 dogs can be allowed outside at any time. A maximum of 42 dogs may be present at any time, so it's daytime. And the request is 6:30.
It was an 8-foot fence,
Eight-
remember, in the conversation.
8-foot wood.
I'd say we-
Well, that was, I think the concern was that
It's not chain link.
it's
Not
not
chain
chain
link.
link, that it would be a buffer, a
Visual
true,
area.
a visual, but also a sound buffer to the people behind, right?
It's not very.
Yeah.
it's still gonna sound, it's still gonna bounce, the sound is gonna travel.
I can turn. What's your left?
Where she is now, there's not a lot of residential around that.
Yeah, jump in and
You
just
have
give it a shot. I'm glad
residential a lot closer than where she is.
I don't, I
And
wouldn't.
I
He goes.
have a hard time with the hardship,
Oh,
because there
really?
are
They
growing
got
areas around.
But there's not availability around.
Well, there's probably a reason why kennels aren't allowed in a lot of
I
areas,
used to
because of the noise.
No,
No,
but
she
from a
hasn't even
realistic.
defined locations, Steve.
I understand it, but if you read a lot of those emails, a lot of them are, they're not permitted. Kennels are not permitted in that area because, for whatever reason, but
Run, do my run.
yeah, I didn't look into the reasons why they're not located, it's not allowed, but a lot of it is, kennels are not allowed in there. Kennels here need a special or a variance.
If I went on.
I agree with the sentiment that if this was like a kennel, like a, racks and racks of cages where a dog's stuck all day, I can see, I can buy that. I just don't feel like the business that she's selling here is that business. That's my impression, my takeaway from it. She's selling she's selling a dog daycare, not a kennel. That's my takeaway. Maybe it's semantics, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's semantics, but it's still, the fact is, dogs are gonna go outside, dogs are gonna bark, they're gonna create noise. I don't care if it's one dog or 10 dogs. It's,
History seems to state that her business style is not generating barking dogs. I mean, I get dogs are going to bark occasionally. I mean, you could live in a neighborhood and there could be 42 dogs in your neighborhood and they can
I
bark.
have lived in one of those neighborhoods, so but I also, when I ran a sports center in town, across the street, there was a kennel. And I don't know how many dogs they had, but I could hear those dogs 800 feet to 1,000 feet away at night barking. They're outside.
But they're outside. They're never gonna be housed outside, except to.
They're gonna go outside, but even And especially when the human, if you will,
What I'm
was
saying,
around.
it's just like that.
You know, when they had, more playtime, the only time they really didn't bark actually was when they were being walked, one at a time, but this is not gonna be, this is gonna be 10 dogs out at a time, so.
But not at night.
Well, how do you know the dog barks to go, the dog has to
Because,
go?
well, I mean,
I think there was a statement made that at night, so 8 to 4 is when you would have potentially 10 dogs outside at a time.
right.
But I thought from 4 to 9, you wouldn't have 10 dogs at a time
Is it
outside.
49?
Well, just based on the fact that the latest they'd be out is 9.
Right,
The groups of dogs go out from 8 to 4. And then from 4 to 9, I think it's, they're taken out sort of individually.
No else, there's no kids in there. Yeah, we have the whole locker room, there's something, we can shower there, we give you a locker.
Dwayne and I have this clarification on that.
Really?
yeah, that's probably easier. We're reserving the right to ask for another question.
Okay, well, typically it's actually a little bit later, it's probably about 9 o'clock in the morning if they typically go out during the week. And that's when we would start our outdoor group, but then they come back in between like 3 and 4 in the afternoon. And then from there on out, it's separate potty breaks, just them going outside.
Would that be from 4 to 9 or in the afternoon and evening? Would that be individual dogs or groups of 10?
No, just individual dogs, in the evening after 4 o'clock. And then there is actual residential people that live behind me where I am now. There's actually one right up on the hill, and I actually hear her dog more than she hears mine, so.
It gives you the reason.
What's the recourse if there are 10 dog noise complaints that are generated?
It is tough.
No, there's a disorderly actions ordinance which regulates nuisance noise, so that could potentially come into effect.
So if a business all of a sudden generates a ton of noise complaints, then there is a recourse for that to be handled, realistically.
It's kind of one of those things that it's a youth thing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You
I
look
think
at
so. I mean, I don't have the ordinance in front of me. It's, it's not a land use ordinance, but we do wind up looking at it quite a bit.
Oh, you definitely feel better.
I
It's
mean,
the simple fact that like, you and I, especially
it,
this year.
there are sections of the ordinance that are fairly general about just extreme noise. They don't, it doesn't say a chainsaw. I can't think of anything in it that would sort of set dogs aside.
In
And,
general,
sorry,
I mean,
so
can I have my text on?
they have
That's okay.
individual suites.
I'm okay.
Yeah, so their rooms are not like steel cages, they're like mini bedrooms.
in the home section of the
Yeah.
facility.
For the 10 that are overnight.
Right.
And it's like, not only that, but you get bored.
Don't laugh at that.
No, I mean,
Whatever.
so they're separate. So they don't see each other at
Well,
night.
unless they come with like their sibling.
Watch and everything's going on.
Right, they-
the whole day, and, I mean,
They would not be able to
Right.
see another dog in the
Right,
evening.
right.
you said the dogs will be outside.
Yeah.
So,
Only people are-
but there's gonna be dogs outside continuously.
No, not typically, especially around noon, all the dogs are inside, and if it's like winter, we're only out there for about 15 minutes at a time. So it's not.
But during the daytime, most people will have their windows open and in the nice weather. You're gonna be outside more,
Yeah,
so there'll be more noise heard by neighbors.
not necessarily, because when the dogs are also outside, a lot of the time they're out there to be trained, therefore I have a trainer with them, and we're working with them during the day. So if I have a dog who's constantly barking at another dog, that can actually start dog fights, and that's a tip, so we remove that dog. And if it's continuous barking, we bring them in.
So would it be fair to say that when these groups of 10 that are out there, it is structured
Yeah,
playtime, not
absolutely.
free-for-all
Right,
playtime?
right. And if it's getting too crazy and they're just all wound up, we bring them in and then they kind of settle when they're inside.
She has to do that, because if my dog comes home with like scars on his
Right.
ears, I'm gonna be a little
Yeah,
upset.
it's your liability.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And also, I started this in my home. And I live around a whole bunch of residential. So the only reason why I stopped is because I wanted to expand. So that's another side note.
Okay.
None of my neighbors complain
But why did you expand your,
because I'm not allowed to build on my property. It's wetlands and stuff of that nature. Okay.
How about you? Okay. All right.
I'll go back to my original motion. Grant motion to approve case 1808. Again, with the following conditions of no more than 10 dogs shall be allowed at any time.
Yeah, they were where they are.
Outside at any time. Maximum 40 dogs may be present at any time. More than 10 dogs may be boarded overnight. In addition to that, an 8-foot wooden fence outside to control noise of the dogs that are outside during their outside activities. That is my motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Opposed, 3-2. Motion carries. Let's see. We have done the minutes and.
I have a question, who were the yeses? 1, 2, okay. I'm a taxman, member of the public,
Oh, no.
just curious, sitting in.
What's your name?
Jason Wright, I'm also a sewer commissioner, I'm waiting for my 7 o'clock meeting.
Oh, okay.
I just finished the police building meeting.
Oh, that's
with
all
it.
right.
So I'm transitioning, but
Okay.
just, if this goes right, good for you, but if it doesn't go well, then, we know who voted, so.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Anything else? Any other business?
No, I think we're good. Yeah, just.
All right, then,
Second?
we are adjourned.
Nice meeting you, man.
Yeah, you too.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Dan?
No.
Oh, we say bye?
Say bye.
I needed something.
No, no.
We're out
Thank
so
you.
soon. Yeah.
Probably.
Where'd you park?
How are you? Just angry about that one, huh?
So it's like no parking over there.
I know, I parked by the fire station.
I parked my,
The process we have, the former government we have is.
Those are the bane of my existence.
my mother.
I just feel bad.
Yeah, so Beth today, Lulu's going in to have her little, thing between her.
Have a good one. Take care. Yeah, Merry Christmas. Take care. Spread now.
She ended up leaving work because she wasn't feeling good.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sorry.